Alright class, this is Mr. Deloach, and I wanted to help out a little bit on the homework assignment this weekend. So if you haven't started your homework yet, now you're going to get a bonus. This problem number 4 has been one that's been tripping up a lot of people, so I wanted to give a quick video. I do want to let you know that this is being recorded in an airport, so I apologize if you hear some extra sounds or if it may be difficult to hear, but hopefully at the very least you can see what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and get started. Since this is a word problem, I'm going to be using rubies like we do with all of our problems. So I start by writing rubies on the side to remind me to read twice, underline important words, box numbers, make an image if there isn't one already. Also eliminate choices. Here there are no choices, so I don't have to eliminate anything. And then finally solve. So I'm going to complete the table. Y equals negative x minus 2 in the graph and graph the resulting line. Excuse me. So I'm going to read it a second time and say complete the table, and I'm going to box y equals negative x minus 2 graph line. So now all I'm going to do is rewrite that equation as y equals negative x minus 2. Y equals, well, now I'm going to put in all of my values for my x column. So let's go ahead and see that. Negative 3 means that I'm now going to have to put up a parentheses because in my equation I already have a negative number. So this negative on a negative is now going to be multiplied by itself. So I subtract 2. Y equals 0 minus 2. Notice that there is no negative number here or negative sign here because 0 is a non-negative number. It is not positive. It's also not negative. It's right there in the middle of our number line. Finally, we have y equals negative 4. We got a positive 4 there, so now it's a negative 4 minus 2. So let's go ahead and evaluate each of these so we can find our final values. So negative times a negative gives me a positive, so positive 3 minus 2 gives me 1. 0 minus 2 gives me negative 2. And negative 6 minus negative 4 minus 2 gives me negative 6. And this is actually interesting because when I subtract, I'm really adding the opposite. So now I'm adding a negative 2, which gives me negative 4 plus negative 2 equals negative 6. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this would be graphed out. As we look at our graph, we want to remember our values, so we rewrite them on our XY table. And we had negative 3 and 1, 0 and negative 2, and 4 with negative 6. So let's go ahead. We're always going to start at that origin, and let's move. So we're moving to the left side, so we're going to a negative, and we're going to negative 3. But it wants us to go up to positive 1, so my first point is here. And I go back to my origin, and it wants me to go down to negative 2. Well, when I go down to negative 2, I'm actually not leaving my y-axis, so it stays right there on the y-axis. And finally, I have positive 4, so I'm going to go to the right, starting at the origin, but I have to go down to negative 6. So I come down to negative 6 down here. And now I'm ready to use a straight edge in order to draw a line. Well, since I have a couple of papers with me, one of the straight edges that I can use to draw my line is right here. So hopefully you're going to be able to see a little bit of this, but making sure that my points are lined up. And now I have my negative slope. My line is going down, so it's a negative slope. And we're all done here. So remember, when we're looking at this equation, we have negative right here, but we also have another negative here. So once we put them into parentheses, that means we have to multiply by himself. A negative times a negative, remembering our sleepy man. Negative times a negative. Negative times a negative means that I have a positive left over. So I hope this was helpful, and see you soon.